If you have any family member with psychosis, schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia, and you use marijuana, you're playing with a loaded gun because you are going to be very prone to develop schizophrenia.
Hi, I'm Mary Colbert, and this is Dr. Colbert's Divine Health Broadcast. Moms, dads, parents, you got to take this show and you've got to share it with your teenagers, your friends, your families. Of all the shows we've done, this is probably the most important for the youth to hear. And we're going to ask you to share this program with as many people as you possibly can, because we're going to give you some information that you're not able to get through the media and some of the things that's out there because it's being suppressed. Why is it being suppressed? Money. There are people behind the scenes that are making trillions of dollars by keeping this silent from the public. But we want you to know, because you need to know so your teenagers can live long and healthy. We are going to be talking about marijuana. You see the cannabis stores opening everywhere. You hear the news media talking about, oh, it's the same as alcohol. There's no difference in the alcohol and marijuana. And they set that drumbeat over and over and over to where the population really believes that. And I want you to know you're believing a lie. It's a lie. They're not telling you the whole picture. They're not telling you the whole truth. But this show's going to do this. And Don, this is going to be sobering for a lot of people.
Oh, Mary.
And I know, because listen, when you did years ago, you came on as a special guest with Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly years ago.
Back when it was just going, you know, that they're just starting to talk about
it was 10 years ago, I bet.
And I mean, the hate calls we got.
I was shocked.
We literally had people call our office threatening us because they didn't want to, you know, they don't want to give up their marijuana because everybody says it's okay. Well, it's not okay. And you need your kids to watch this and your teenagers to watch this. This could make the difference between life and death in your children.
Oh, absolutely, Mary. You know what? Marijuana is legal for medical use in 40 of 50 states. 40 of 50 is now, that's for medical use, which I can see that. But it's also legal in 24 of 50 states for recreational use. And what's happening is that our teenagers are getting on this and it's causing major problems. For example, 6.3% of 12th graders in one study reported regularly using marijuana. That's 6.3%. Now 15.3% of adults regularly use marijuana in this country. The problem is marijuana is a risk factor for developing schizophrenia and psychosis, especially in those with a genetic predisposition to it, or in those who use regularly, and in those who use the higher marijuana forms, like the dabs, the edibles, and the types that are the oils that are the highly concentrated that have as much as 95% THC in them. And that's a problem.
Oh, I have never met a schizophrenic who doesn't smoke pot.
Exactly.
And I may have met 20, 25, had conversations, asked them, you know, if they had an episode, and I'd say, do you smoke marijuana? Did you that day? You know, when I think about it, I actually did.
Wow.
And so the court, now I'm not saying that's across the board, it's anecdotal, but I've never met one who hasn't smoked pot.
Well, listen to what the study
you know what,
says.
I think what's important for parents to understand, and a lot of people, because what happens is people, well, it didn't affect me this way. And so you hear the people out there that are sharing about, well, I didn't really have, but mental illness, folks, is on the rise in America. And all the doctors are talking about it. The news agencies are talking about it. Why? Why is it mental illness is going up? Well, this is the reason right here, because of its widespread use.
Well, America's smoking too much pot. We're going crazy.
It's crazy what's happening. Now listen to one study, Mary, showed that 8.9% of those with cannabis use disorder develop schizophrenia compared to only 0.6% of the general population. Cannabis use disorder are those that use cannabis on a regular basis. Can you believe that? 8.9% of those who have that disorder develop schizophrenia versus the 0.6% of the regular population. So schizophrenia is rare. But schizophrenia, psychosis, it's on the rise, and it's on the rise because of frequent use of marijuana, stronger marijuana preparations, and that genetic predisposition. If you have any family member with psychosis, schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia, and use marijuana, you're playing with a loaded gun because you are going to be very prone to develop schizophrenia.
And it may not be the first time or the 10th time, but it's like loading the gun, and it's eventually going to go off.
And I've
Playing
seen this,
Russian roulette.
yes, and I've seen this with so many patients, just some with one-time use.
One time.
Teenagers, especially, the younger, the more susceptible you are. But I've seen parents that bring their kids in with schizophrenia. They're hearing voices. They can't stop hearing these voices.
It is the
And
most heartbreaking thing to be on this side of it
yeah,
in the medical field because we're on this side of it. We see the people coming in with their teenagers that are 17 or
yeah,
18. They've had to drop out of college. They went to a college party and now I mean, it's heartbreaking to see these parents bring these kids into Don to see, like, can you help my son? Is there anything we can do?
But now we're getting good research because I remember I prepped Dad for that Bill O'Reilly show. Remember, I had
oh
to act
yeah,
as Bill O'Reilly,
that
and
was
I had to
10
go,
years ago.
"Now, Doc, tell me why."
I know.
And we were trying to pull up all the research on marijuana because he wanted to hit that
They
topic
didn't have a lot.
because it was in between. Do we make it recreational? Do we legalize it in these states? And he was wanting to bring you in to be a voice against it.
Right.
And there wasn't a lot of research.
There wasn't.
There was almost no research on
No,
whether it was
there's a lot
good or
of
bad.
suppressed. There's still not that much research compared. But again, what's happened is marijuana amounts have increased since the 90s dramatically. They found that marijuana THC levels, when they seized marijuana, they analyzed the content. Back in the 90s, the marijuana THC content was under 4% in the mid 90s. Now it's over 16% back in 2022, and that's in the average. Now, what's happened, we have these super concentrated marijuana forms. We have these dabs, these edibles, shatter, and oils, where the THC content can be up to 90 or 95%. And that's what's so dangerous now because you're getting into no man's land. You're getting into where you can really create major problems. And I'm talking about with schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, psychosis, but also amotivational syndrome, cannabis use disorder, where these people have no desire to do anything because marijuana affects the pleasure center. It boosts the dopamine, where these people feel such extreme pleasure, they could care less about having other pleasure. They just want to smoke and get high and live off the dopamine they get from their marijuana.
I know
So,
so many people make jokes about the young men who are living in their mom and dad's basement. What is true about marijuana? This is what's true about marijuana is that the brain of the male is not, the judgment center is not fully developed until they're 25.
about 25.
And so what happens is if these teenagers start smoking pot, 16, 17, 18, let me tell you what happens. The judgment center in the brain is delayed. I remember I have family members that literally I watched because they were potheads. They didn't wake up until they were in their 30s. And I would be like so frustrated because they'd go from job to job to job as a family member watching them. Luckily, it's not my kids, but it was other ones in our family that I would watch this. And their brains were, they didn't care. They had no motivation. You know, they just want to
Never tell a slug. No.
slog. They killed their ambition. And I know you know who I'm thinking of. And so now, you know, finally he woke up, he quit smoking pot, he got married, he's doing great, and he's holding down a job, and he's doing good. But the sad thing is he lost like 10 or 15 years of his ambition years that he could have been putting toward a career or college or finishing his college degree, and he didn't.
Mhm.
And he lost 10 to 15 years of his life.
Right, exactly.
Over pot.
Well, that's because, again, they get that dopamine high with marijuana, and they would rather sit around and just bask in that dopamine high than get out and do things that would also create a high, like playing pickleball or doing sports that you enjoy that create that rush of dopamine. They are satisfied in that dopamine high from marijuana, so they become slugs. They become amotivational, and it's amotivational syndrome. And what's also happening is also if you start smoking marijuana as a teen, It affects your brain. It affects your
Right.
brain doesn't function as
That's
well.
what I want to get across.
It
to the
affects the
parents.
short-term memory centers. And studies have shown that when you start marijuana in adolescence, it leads to cognitive defects. It leads to problems with verbal memory, attention, executive function, working memory. And a 45-year study showed, following individuals throughout teenage years, that heavy cannabis uses had a greater decline in IQ from childhood to midlife, along with reduced hippocampal volumes. Your hippocampus is your short-term memory center right above your ear here in your temporal area of your brain. And this is where short-term memories are transferred to long-term storage in the prefrontal cortex. These people have reduced hippocampal volume. They have short-term memory problems. They don't remember things. And so it destroys that short-term memory, and these people's IQs are decreased too. And so they don't fulfill their potential. And they got this, many of them have this amotivational syndrome, no ambition, no drive, just a slug who's happy to be like a slug or like a lump on the log, and they just want to smoke marijuana all day, play video games, stay in the basement, and literally don't make anything out of their lives. And it's really frustrating a lot of
But
parents.
for the parents that are watching this, I know this sounds hopeless, but it's not. Because if you can get them off the pot
Yeah,
and you can get them
and we can get them off.
stop
Yes.
and get them off, the body is designed when you give it the things it needs to heal, it can heal. It may take a while, but it can heal.
Well, there's certain things though that people don't understand. They think I can smoke marijuana. It's not a cigarette. I'm not going to get cancer. These people are getting cancer.
Yeah,
There's many
huge
there's many
belief.
cancers associated with marijuana. Number one is increased risk of testicular cancer. It's these testicular cancers. There's a link between marijuana use and these germ cell tumors, which is the most common type of testicular cancer. So that's one thing. They're getting more head and neck cancers. They're getting cancer of the mouth and oral pharynx. They're getting cancer of the larynx, and 8 times higher risk of laryngeal cancer, where they have to have those electrolarynx, which is an electric device, in order to speak. They're having to have their, when they develop laryngeal cancer, 8 times higher risk, they have to have their voice box removed, and they have to speak with that electrical
Yeah.
voice box. Also, they're more prone to develop lung cancer because when you smoke marijuana, you inhale deeper and longer, and you're getting the tars and the benzene in the marijuana plant, which are carcinogens. So you're being exposed to that, so you're more prone to develop lung cancer, and you're more prone to develop COPD, which is emphysema and chronic bronchitis. So people don't realize that. So they're wheezing. They're having to go on these long-term steroids and asthma-type medications because of the COPD they're developing as they get older, as they do it longer and longer. So now, again, there are medical benefits to marijuana. You say, what?
Uh-oh. Everybody sitting by who smokes marijuana goes, here it comes.
There are
Yes.
medical benefits, so I've got to go over some of these because some people will need this because it's amazing for certain things.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Medical benefits include modest analgesia for chronic pain. If you're a chronic pain person, the marijuana will help, but you say,
Are there better alternatives?
well, let me explain. If you're smoking, you're going to be at a higher risk of lung cancer and COPD and testicular cancer and laryngeal cancer and oral pharynx cancer. But there's certain forms of marijuana, like edibles and vaporized cannabis, have much lower risk, or pills, marijuana pills, than smoking or burning pot. Okay.
See, but I've heard that, people that do the edibles, I mean, sometimes they'll have panic attacks.
Exactly right.
So
You're right.
when I was 16, I smoked pot.
I know.
Yeah, you guys, remember it's our mid, y'all found it. And I remember thinking, what am I going to do? And I prayed, I was like, Lord, I'm hooked on this stuff. And for me, I had a panic attack when I was 16, 17 years
Well, it
old.
triggers panic attacks.
And I stopped. I couldn't do it anymore. And so, but there's a lot of people out there where they'll say, just smoke through it, or they'll take these edibles and they'll take those and it sends them into a panic attack. So you can have such concentrated amounts of THC.
Right. Marijuana supercharges the fight or flight response in certain individuals. It literally sets off the stress response. And so a lot of people will try and smoke through it, which can increase it, and they can actually go into hallucinations. They can go into psychotic episodes, And so again, if you're one of those, it literally causes the stress response to get stuck and they develop panic attacks.
But
And I've seen a lot of kids that have this.
certain people, though, they actually can benefit from those edibles, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Now, if they
they're
have
in severe
if they have
pain.
chronic pain, they can do an edible, or they can do a marijuana pill, or they can do some of the inhaled marijuana solutions that they have that you can inhale.
There are people who have been in car crashes and their backs, not even surgery can correct it. It gives them relief.
But like vaporized cannabis is less carcinogenic than smoking marijuana. But certain like chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting. I have seen people on chemotherapy and they're vomiting all the time, nausea all the time.
Mm,
They do amazing with marijuana, with medical
interesting.
marijuana.
Okay.
They do.
And there's no
And-
other alternative for them.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, we do. We have Zofran and other antiemetics, but they don't work for some people. Just this works.
Interesting.
And it's a miracle for these people. Other conditions,
Smoking of it, not the edible or anything?
no, you can do the edible or you can do the
Just
inhale.
getting the THC, is it the THC that
Well,
causes
yeah,
them
well, it's
throwing up?
yes, it's the THC.
Okay.
But it's the vaporized marijuana or vaporized cannabis, which is less carcinogenic for your lungs. But also other problems are spasticity release for MS and Parkinson's. It helps those that have spasticity. It helps those with Huntington's. Huntington's disease has nothing else as a treatment. There's no cure. It's an incurable disease. But these people on the
THC.
edible or inhaled THC, they do really well with that. Other diseases are severe anxiety, wasting syndromes from HIV, AIDS, cancer. They gain weight. It puts the weight back on them. So for these few diseases, it's good. Some forms of epilepsy, like Dravet syndrome, responds good to some certain forms of marijuana and CBD.
Epilepsy.
Yeah. But also, marijuana is seen by many as a gateway drug. It can lead many into using cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin. So it's a gateway drug to many. So again, that's why we've got to be aware that when our kids start using marijuana, it can sometimes progress. Not all the time. In fact, most marijuana users do not progress to the stronger drugs. But most everyone that's been on the stronger drugs, the heroin, the cocaine, the methamphetamine, usually always start with marijuana.
And more youth they're smoking more and more.
Oh, yeah, they are.
You know, when I was in high school, drinking was the big thing. When Friday night came around,
Right.
it was where is the party? Now, my 16-year-old said people don't drink they don't drink. They don't want to drink. They
Right,
want to
that's
smoke.
true.
They
You
just
wanna
want to
smoke.
smoke.
Smoke pot or smoke cigarettes?
Just whatever. I don't know. But he said they just like smoking.
Now, what's happened, because we're seeing so many people using marijuana,
The
the vapes,
yeah,
right? The
The
vapes are
vapes is what's happening.
I think they
Right.
put the stuff in the vapes. And
Yeah.
so, but I think it's made it just streamlined.
Well, they
and
put
more
it in these.
convenient.
Well, what they have these dabs and shatter that are highly concentrated forms of THC. They're oils. They put them in these water pipes, and they put it on they call it a nail that heats it and vaporizes it. Then they inhale it through a water pipe, and so it gets high concentrated forms of THC into your system quickly. But what's happening? We're seeing many more auto accidents. The stats are amazing about auto accidents. They found the percentage of fatal car crashes involving marijuana increased from 9% in 2000 to 21.5% in 2018. And so still alcohol is the number one cause of fatal traffic accidents, but marijuana is right behind it. And they predict if it keeps going, marijuana will soon surpass alcohol in causing fatal crashes.
Wow. Well, we can't get those automated cars fast enough. All the potheads and Teslas. You're a pothead. You're buying a Tesla. That's right.
Well, they won't know how to use it because it affects their
That's
memory.
okay. We'll program it for.
But the Bible gives us real solutions. And if you have a child that's addicted to marijuana, again, the key is using the Word of God, and it's using certain things, nutrients that we need, especially those B vitamins that we need, as well as glutathione to detox the brain. But Ephesians 4:26-27 says, "Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down in your wrath, neither give place to the devil." what happens is marijuana gives place to the devil, and it opens people up to the spirit realm. And some people on marijuana can actually look into the spirit realm and they see evil spirits. And they can actually go into that psychosis, and they can go into demon oppression and possession. And there's a short skip and a jump to either one of those.
It's a real thing.
It's a
It
real
is.
thing. You know, the most important thing I think we can do for our young people is, educate them. Let them see the results of so many people of what's going on. And then the best decision they can make is don't do it. Don't start. Just don't start. And that's really what we've got to drill into them is don't play with it. Don't do it because your friends are doing it. Be a leader. Don't be a follower. We have enough followers. We need more good leaders that lead people.
Right.
And
That's
these
right.
people, like I say, they usually have low dopamine levels. They're getting that dopamine boost from the THC in the marijuana. And so what we have to do is look for other outlets of dopamine boost. I mean, playing sports you enjoy, like pickleball, I know you love. Dark chocolate helps give you that dopamine boost. Curcumin, turmeric helps give a dopamine boost too. And so there's natural ways we can get that. Magnesium helps to boost dopamine, serotonin. So again, we want to correct those B vitamins. They should be on a good B vitamin. I like our Brain Zone Basic because it has high doses, especially of folic acid, B12, and B6. And also our nanoglutathione helps to detox the brain. But we need to look at alternative ways to boost dopamine instead of through marijuana. You're getting that tremendous dopamine boost, but it's causing amotivational syndrome where you want to be a bump on the log and all you want to do is stay high all day and stay in your parents' basement and play video games and smoke.
PBS did a documentary on you years ago. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Because you had, I want to say the gentleman.
Sean Miller had schizophrenia from, he was from Canada, and he came down to see me, and he was one of the few schizophrenics that we totally reversed his schizophrenia.
Without drugs.
With multiple psychiatrists.
And he had gone to Shands, the Mayo Clinic.
Well, he went to all the major psychiatrists.
And he went to you and you reversed it. And so they wanted to come in and do a documentary on how you reversed schizophrenia.
Yeah, the doctors were like in shock. It's like, how did you do this?
And you put him on a unique regimen. I'll never forget. You said, Kyle, I got his gut healthy.
Yes, I got his gut healthy. We healed his gut, and I did a book from that called The Healthy Gut Zone. But what I did is I took him off the foods that were creating gut issues and brain issues. There's a strong gut-brain connection. It just so happened that gluten was one of the main things triggering his schizophrenia. And dairy, gluten and dairy, and I find that a lot with schizophrenics.
Gluten can trigger their schizophrenia. So not just like THC, marijuana.
Yeah.
But gluten. So we're talking about the same stuff as Domino's pizza.
Yes, exactly. And so when you eat that pizza with lots of cheese,
lots of calcium.
I know, and you're getting inflammation, and also lots of gluten in it, then you are getting inflammation throughout your body, but in your brain. And so I turned that off. I put him on glutathione. I didn't have the glutathione we have now, but glutathione calms the brain down for many people. And then I put them on a good, healthy diet in my Gut Zone or in my Beyond Keto book. This is Beyond Keto. It's a healthy keto diet, but also I have the Gut Zone book. And he followed many of the principles in the Gut Zone book, but two of the key were getting him off the gluten and the dairy. When he did that and took these key nutrients, his brain healed. It was absolutely
And you gave him probiotics too.
Oh, absolutely.
On a probiotic-rich diet.
Absolutely. I used
probiotic.
I used, I believe, some colostrum too. Now we have a goat milk colostrum. And now we have even more powerful probiotics like Akkermansia. So,
You love Akkermansia.
it's one of my
hear you
favorite.
mention it all the time.
I put Timmy, my grandson, on it, and he's taking the goat milk colostrum and the Akkermansia. But Timmy's gut's healing beautifully.
I thought that we couldn't, there was some new data that we couldn't increase the amount of gut flora without feeding it prebiotic. And a lot of the probiotics, it was tough.
But it has the prebiotic in it. It has the chicory in it.
Ah, okay.
So the Akkermansia was with chicory, plus it has the goat milk colostrum, so it heals the gut beautifully.
So that's a key point. So for a lot of schizophrenics, if you know anyone that's schizophrenic,
They usually have gut issues. They usually have major gut
issues, and they need to take a good prebiotic.
Yes, they do. Yes, and again, we have our Beyond Biotic has prebiotics in it. I have GPC in it. I have these probiotics with it, so it feeds the good
Now,
bacteria.
what about like inulin and psyllium husk?
Right. We have
Okay.
inulin in there, but we have these specific probiotics that are real beneficial, that are much more beneficial.
Okay, and like our fiber zone is what I was kind of getting
Yeah,
at.
that has
So,
inulin in it.
yeah.
That's
So
good.
is our fiber zone a good prebiotic for gut
Absolutely.
health?
It's got inulin in it, which
Okay.
is a great prebiotic.
So schizophrenics should consider the fiber zone.
Absolutely. That's really good for
Okay.
gut health. So Beyond Biotic or Akkermansia is very good. Those are excellent for the gut. But the big thing is that taking away the kryptonite. A lot of these people with schizophrenia, due to marijuana usage, have sensitivities to gluten and dairy and other foods. I sometimes run a panel, and I can run different food allergy or sensitivity panels that will determine what foods they're sensitive to and eliminate those foods. But two of the biggies are gluten and dairy in so many of these patients.
There's a developer that created an app. It was fascinating. This app is you could actually see what it's like to have schizophrenia. And
Oh, wow.
it's pretty terrifying. And what schizophrenics will see when they're going through their episodes and
Yeah.
what they will hear. And when you turn this app on, you can see what they see.
And we can't get away from just basically addressing this one issue because I know people don't want to believe this, but demonic activity is real.
Absolutely. And
Whether
we
you
open
want-
ourselves up.
Whether you want to believe it's true or not, it is true. Demons are real. And when you open up your mind and your body to these hallucinants, genics,
With
You're-
those are
you're-
especially the LSD and hallucinogens really
Right,
open you up. But
but
marijuana does too.
marijuana opens the door for demonic possession, for demonic influences. See, I'm a believer in this.
Well, you've seen
There-
it firsthand.
I've seen it firsthand. I did a deliverance on a girl that literally manifested, the demons manifested. They called my name out, and I didn't even know her. She was a total stranger. So I've seen it up close how real demonic activity is, and it's important that the door not even be open. He says, make no room for Satan. So your children, you want to make sure that they understand it could open the door to the demonic activity in their life. And I believe, there's not 3 kingdoms, there's 2. There's the kingdom of darkness and there's the kingdom of light. That's it. There's no other kingdom. And the only way the kingdom of God grows is through humanity. It's through you and I. And the only way the kingdom of darkness grows, he requires a human. He requires a human to yield to him in order to grow. So I really like to end with that for people to get a good point that let's grow the kingdom of God.
Praise God.
We want to grow his kingdom and shut the door to the kingdom of darkness.
Again, it says in Ephesians 4:27, nor give place to the devil.
What we just
Marijuana
said.
gives place to the devil.
Right.
For you that want further information, consider Honey Lake Clinic in northern Florida near Tallahassee.
Yes.
That's great it's a Christian-based clinic that treats drug addiction.
It's
That's right.
awesome.
Well, Honey Lake
we're gonna-
Clinic.
Guys, this has been a great show. Okay, so schizophrenia, we've gone through it. Now we are going to move to autism. Stay with us. We'll see you on the next show.